Ser el primero siempre tiene su ventaja y desventaja. Para Robbie Rogers esto tiene mucho significado. El 15 de febrero del 2013, Robbie Hampton Rogers anunció su homosexualidad por medio de su página de internet y declaró que se retiraría de las canchas de fútbol.
Things are never what they seem. My whole life I have felt different. Different from my peers, even different from my family. In today's society, being different makes you brave. To overcome your fears, you must be strong and have faith in your purpose. For the past 25 years, I have been afraid. Afraid to show whom I really was because of fear. Fear that judgment and rejection would hold me back from my dreams and aspirations. Fear that my loved ones would be fatherless from me if they knew my secret. Fear that my secret would get in the way of my dreams.
Sí, este anuncio marcaría la historia del fútbol mundial. Porque antes de Robbie, ningún futbolista activo había salido a la luz pública y declarado su preferencia sexual en los Estados Unidos. Para Robbie, lo lógico fue liberar esta verdad, que llevó escondida por 25 años para que poco a poco se desvaneciera y pudiera vivir una vida normal y feliz. Pero para este joven californiano sucedió todo lo contrario. Declararse abiertamente gay fue el momento más difícil de su vida. Jugar al fútbol pasó a ser lo más fácil.
When you told the world, because actually it was news that actually went around the world, you know, as a professional athlete that you were gay.
Yeah.
I've noticed that in tweet accounts, Facebook accounts, all the social medias, everybody from the United States, coaches, players, even the federation, they supported you.
Yeah. Yeah, which was a surprise to me.
Yeah.
A great surprise, though. Same guys that I heard the most homophobic things from, they were the guys that called me a second after they read my letter and were like,
Wow.
Robbie, don't stop playing, love you so much, and sorry if I ever said anything, and blah, blah, blah. So it was really amazing. There's just so many people that were so supportive, so, I mean, it's really those were the people really that got me back into playing. If I wouldn't have heard from any of the guys that I play with or any of the coaches that coached me, I probably would be in school right now in London.
Robbie tiene 3 hermanas y un hermano. Todos crecieron en el sur de California. Sus padres, Teresa y Robert, inculcaron a sus hijos el amor por el deporte desde muy temprana edad. Robbie practicó judo, béisbol, fútbol americano. Pero todo cambió cuando el fútbol lo encontró. El deporte rey logró llenar en él ese vacío que los demás deportes no lograban satisfacer.
At what point, at any time, at let's say 5, 6, 7-year-old, you realize and you start thinking, wow, my dream is I want to become a professional soccer player.
I think it was probably when I was around like 7 or 8 when I watched the World Cup. When I watched the U.S. play Colombia,
Right.
that's when I saw the possibility of like, oh my gosh, this would be so amazing and to play for our country.
What did you feel when you were growing up so fast and you were becoming such a good player that every coach in the state of California or perhaps were keeping their eyes on you, and then all of a sudden, boom, you were in the shirt of the United States?
Yeah. I never really thought about that. I always was looking forward, like, what's my next step?
Right.
I want to be in the U14 national team, then the U16, the U18, I want to be in the U20 World Cup and get to the limit team and to the full men's national team. So I always just kind of focused on what was ahead of me.
So what about high school?
Yeah, high school, I just wanted to be on the varsity team my freshman year. That's all I was thinking about. And,
Did you make it?
I did. It was an interesting time in life. And it was also a time where I realized really that I was gay. So, and I didn't know any gay professional soccer players.
Right.
So it was an interesting time in my life.
You and your book, you claimed that My Little Pony was your favorite show. That you did things that maybe perhaps other boys at that age would not do it, or parents would not like it.
Yeah.
But your sisters and your mom didn't mind. But it was different with your father, correct?
I mean, I would say with my mom and my dad, there were occasions that they were like, okay, let's pull him away from that. So I remember those times, especially as a young kid, like hearing things coming from your parents that you're just like, oh my gosh, like, because you don't know being gay is a bad thing. You're taught that kind of stuff. You have no idea. And I mean, liking My Little Ponies is like, that doesn't make you gay.
Correct.
Because then me being an athlete would make me be straight. You know what I mean? Like there's stereotypes that people that just aren't true, and kids just have to be themselves. So I come from a very conservative Catholic family. You would almost say my family is like Latino, very close, and my mom goes to mass every day, and she speaks at mass. My sister is also very Catholic. I just think that, you know, you have to take a chance to really let people to get to know you, to like really love you. And I was so afraid of rejection, but my family has been my biggest supporters. You know, they come to all of our games, and they were the people that I first told that really loved me and just really got me out of a really tough time.
En el 2006, a los 19 años de edad, y después de su primera temporada jugando para la Universidad de Maryland, Robbie recibió una oferta de contrato por un año del club holandés Heerenveen. Rogers no corrió con suerte en el viejo continente, y en el 2007 regresó a los Estados Unidos para unirse a Columbus Crew. Fue ahí donde pasó sus mejores años como futbolista, jugando al lado de figuras como el argentino Guillermo Barros Esqueloto, el venezolano Alejandro Moreno y el estadounidense Frankie Haydock, entre otros. El 2008 lo vivió como un sueño. Logró su primer título como futbolista profesional, siendo una pieza clave para que el Crew levantara la copa ese año. Todos estos logros fueron iluminando un camino que le sirvió para brillar en las canchas. Y en el 2011, después de 4 años en Columbus, volvió a tener la oportunidad de mostrar su fútbol en Europa. Esta vez en Inglaterra, con Leeds United. Pero nuevamente la suerte no estuvo con él, y sufrió una lesión que lo mantuvo fuera de acción por 6 meses. Luego de algunos cambios en la dirección del equipo, Robbie nunca vio acción en el plantel titular, y fue transferido a Stevenage, un equipo de segunda división inglesa, donde tocó fondo. Sin embargo, todo este tiempo de logros y retos lo vivió con una carga a cuestas que no lo dejaba ser feliz, y era no poder compartir ser un jugador profesional de fútbol homosexual.
How did you deal with all this, that you felt that perhaps some of your teammates noticed that you were different than they were? Because when you did a lot of traveling, I'm sure you had to share rooms with everybody else.
Yeah,
correct?
I mean, I just like lived a life. I lived a life that I thought a footballer should live, a soccer player. I thought I got to be straight. I got to date girls. I got to do this stuff. And so I lived a life that I would never choose for anyone. You know, obviously.
So when you went to Maryland, were you told that you needed to go out with girls?
Yeah, the senior, one of my first days, was like, if you don't hook up with a girl by this weekend, like, you're gay. And I think he was probably joking, but I was so closeted at that point and so like depressed that I like took it literally, and so I hooked up with a girl that weekend. Which is so awful. You know, I was so worried about what was going on around me, what my image was, because I wanted to be a professional soccer player. It was always my goal. And so what I would do to kind of live up to that stereotype, which was really interesting to look back at and really depressing to look back at, but you know, it was just a life that I lived, and eventually came to a point where I was like, all right, this isn't right, and I make a change.
Playing in high school, playing at college level, playing at the under 17, under 20 are completely different when you play for a professional team.
Yeah, it's very different.
Maybe you heard when you were in the States words that, you know, you playing like a gay dude, you touching the ball like a gay dude, you know, or whatever, you know, always something
I've heard
against.
that at every level.
But when you're at a professional locker room, the words and the way coaches and players, teammates, they express themselves are much stronger than when you were in the United States.
I don't know. I don't think I agree with that. I, at every level, have heard the most homophobic things when I was younger, and when I was in high school, when I was at residency, and then when I moved to England, when I played in Columbus, you know, and I think if you talk to most professional athletes, they'll agree with me that at some point they've heard just ridiculous things. So, you know, when you're younger and your mind's molding and you hear those kind of things, that stuff stays with you forever. And as you get older and you continue to hear those things, it just makes you think that it's impossible to be a gay man in a professional sport.
Se dice que valiente es aquel que siente miedos, pero los enfrenta. Al revelar su secreto al mundo y con el incondicional apoyo de su familia y amigos, Robbie volvió a esas canchas de fútbol que nunca lo juzgaron, sino que lo acogieron durante los días más difíciles de su vida. Después de una serie de trámites desgastantes para volver a jugar en la MLS, Robbie comenzó su lucha para volver a pisar un campo de juego junto a su gran amigo London Donovan y el Galaxy de Los Ángeles. Para Rogers fue como volver a nacer, pero esta vez libre de secretos.
It wasn't really until I came out to the public that I realized, like, oh my gosh, if I continued to play or if I went back to playing, like, it would really help a lot of people. So it was probably like 6 months after I told my family that I realized, like, I have to go back to playing.
Before you came to the Galaxy, I mean, you made a phone call. You talked with Bruce Arena, but your first phone call to someone was Landon Donovan.
I've known Landon a long time, but he wanted to know the whole thought process of me, like, coming out and stepping away and all that stuff, and just talking about those things. So he just talked to me about, what he expected and said, the first few days might be a little weird, but then, we have a great group of guys.
Right.
And it was, I think, the day before I came back to training that he texted me. He's like, actually, I don't even think it's going to be a big deal. I don't think anyone's going to really care. They know you. You've been with us before, and you've played against and with a bunch of these guys. So he's like, I just think it's going to be totally cool. And it was. I came in, and it was like strangely normal.
Right.
It's like really normal.
We're from different cultures, and the Latino culture is still families. They live sort of in the Flintstone age, I will call it sometimes. And there are families. I've been in the business for 25 years, and I know for a fact that there are Latino soccer players who are gay.
Yeah.
What can they learn from you? Because I know for a fact a lot of them, they have experienced the life that you lived.
Yeah, it's tough. I think those guys have to take a chance, and I think by doing that they'd help millions of people. Obviously, the Latin culture is, to be honest, is pretty homophobic in some places.
It is.
Yeah, so it's tough. But all of my buddies, Guiche, Stiloto, different people that I've played with in countries that I know, it's not that accepting. They've been very supportive of me and have got my book and still keep in touch with me. So I think when it's something that personal and people know you, they love you and they get over that stuff and it doesn't become an issue to them. I think when they're not aware of it and it's not in front of them, then that's when they can kind of go back to that locker room mentality or that pack mentality where they say things that they don't necessarily mean. Sure. But it's just about education and being aware of it. So I hope that those guys would just see or read my story and be able to be like, oh my gosh, this is the same story, and look at the ending for it. He's happy now and he gets to live his life the way that I should be able to. It's very different now that I'm out, that I'm in the locker room. The guys are very sensitive to what's around them, and the Galaxy have been absolutely amazing. Unfortunately, not more guys have kind of taken that step. But
when you visited the White House, President Obama had supported gay rights for years.
Yeah.
I saw a picture of you that he's pointing at you.
Yeah.
How did you feel?
I wasn't expecting for him to say anything to me, really. I just knew I was with my team, that the Kings were going to be there, and we were going to kind of be celebrating our win. And when he kind of called me out and congratulated me and spoke a little bit briefly about my experience, I got emotional about it. I kind of had some tears, and I was in shock because I wasn't expecting it. And to kind of receive those kind of praise from someone who's so accomplished and someone that has done so much for our country and obviously so well respected, it was definitely a moment in my life where I could kind of sit back and be like, okay, I'm actually doing something kind of cool. I'm actually doing something that makes a difference in people's lives.
Si durante 25 años pudo guardar un secreto que le impedía ser completamente feliz, ahora Robbie vive su mejor momento, tanto en su vida personal como en lo profesional. En noviembre del 2014, publicó su autobiografía Coming Out to Play, la cual se ha mantenido entre los libros más vendidos en los Estados Unidos. También en diciembre del año pasado ganó el título de liga con el Galaxy, donde experimentó una transición de mediocampista a defensa. La paciencia y dedicación que ha caracterizado a Robbie Rogers lo ha llevado a puntos jamás imaginados. Y todo lo que se avecine en su futuro será recibido con los brazos abiertos. Robbie espera dejar huella en un deporte que ama y que también quiere servir de inspiración para otras personas. Porque hoy, Robbie es el número 1, el primer jugador de fútbol abiertamente homosexual.